The text arrived at 11:45 p.m., just as Sarah was packing for her weekend camping trip. "You left me here. Now I'm coming for you." The number was unknown, the words chilling. She stared at her phone, uneasy, but brushed it off as a prank. The next morning, Sarah and her friends, James, Lisa, and Mike, set off into Blackwood Forest. By the time they set up camp near a lake, the eerie text was forgotten. But as night fell, the forest seemed unnaturally still, the usual sounds of wildlife absent. "Do you feel like we're being watched?" Sarah asked as they sat around the campfire. James laughed it off, but Lisa shifted uncomfortably. They hadn't been there long when Sarah spotted something, a figure standing at the edge of the clearing just beyond the reach of the firelight. "Who's that?" she whispered. The others looked, but the figure was gone. James grabbed a flashlight and, against Lisa's protests, wandered into the trees to investigate. Minutes passed and Sarah's anxiety grew until James's terrified scream echoed from the darkness. Without thinking, the group rushed into the woods to find him. When they did, James was crouched beside a disturbed patch of earth, pale and shaking. "It's a body," he whispered. A shallow grave had been uncovered, revealing a skeleton wrapped in a tattered sheet. Sarah's stomach churned. Who had buried this here? And why had they chosen this spot? As they stood in shock, Sarah's phone buzzed again. The same message. "I told you, Sarah. You left me here. Now I'm coming for you." Her heart pounded in her chest. This was no prank. "We need to go," Mike said urgently, but as they turned to leave, another message flashed on Sarah's screen. "You're already too late." Panic set in, and they fled back to the campsite. But when they arrived, their tents had been slashed to ribbons, their belongings scattered. In the middle of the wreckage stood a hooded figure watching them. "Who are you?" Sarah shouted, her voice shaking. The figure didn't respond. Instead, they slowly pulled back the hood to reveal a face Sarah knew all too well. Mike, her friend, the quiet one, the one who had been with them the whole time. "You don't remember me, do you?" Mike asked, his voice cold and hollow. Sarah's mind raced. Memories from a previous trip to the forest flashed before her. Years ago when Mike had gone missing after an accident. They had searched for him but found nothing, assuming he had died. But he hadn't. "You left me here to die," Mike said, stepping forward, his eyes filled with rage. "You left me and now it's your turn." Before anyone could react, Mike pulled a knife from his belt, the blade glinting in the firelight. The realization hit Sarah like a punch to the gut. Mike had never left the forest. He had been waiting for this moment, waiting for them to return. The group stood frozen in horror as Mike advanced, his eyes locked on Sarah. "I've been waiting for this," he whispered, "and now you'll pay." The forest, silent as ever, watched as the nightmare unfolded.